Hi! In today's video I'm going to demo you two possible answers with tips and tricks to one of the most asked questions during any Amazon interview, that is, tell me about a time where you had to solve a difficult problem. And it's actually the second most asked question during the Amazon interview after why Amazon. And just before getting to the actual examples, let me mention 5 house cleaning items first. First is that most major companies nowadays use behavioral interviewing quite extensively during their interviews, and the main reason for doing so is that your past performance is a great indicator of future performance, or so the theory goes. So the main takeaway here is that whenever you're trying to pick an example to answer any question, be sure that it will actually focus on your strengths. Second, while answering this behavioral question, it's quite useful to keep in mind the STAR format, which is actually nothing more than a framework to help you guide you into giving a relevant answer. And its structure, starting with the situation, that may also include the task, then you should talk about the actions that you took, and finally about the resolve for the situation. So I found this particularly interesting to keep in mind during the actual interviews, just in order not to forget any essential part of your story. Third, if you've been watching my previous videos, you'll know that Amazon's 14 leadership principles are a must-have whenever answering these behavioral questions for the Amazon interview. And one interesting note here is that if you'll go on Amazon's jobs website and look at the leadership principles, you'll notice that 11 of the 14 start with the keyword leaders. So I believe this is something relevant to keep in mind while formulating your answers. Number 4. The best answers will always focus on the main aptitudes that the employer is looking for in this job, and this can usually be found in the job description. For example, for an SDE role, I've done such an analysis in a previous video, so here are some screenshots. Number 5. In my previous video, I answered the question, tell me about the time that you failed, and one of the main takeaways there was to quickly switch from the actions part of the story and to focus on the learnings, to focus on the main strengths in that case. Now, for this question, tell me about the time you had to deal with a difficult problem. The interesting part of this answer will be in your actions part of the story, because you have to be a good problem solver here. So let's take a look at an example. Let me tell you about a project that I led during my last year of university. We were a team of 5 charged of developing a machine learning algorithm that would accurately spot cats from given samples. And our lecturer had allocated to specific tasks and goals to each of us for this purpose, and gave us a deadline of 1.5 months. Now, 2 weeks into the project, I realized that one of our team members never actually showed up to our group meetings, so I thought I'd give them a heads up, so I sent them a few emails asking what's going on, and they politely replied that some personal circumstances prevented them from attending our meetings, but they do their best to do so on the next occasion. And at the next occasion, still there was the same situation. They couldn't show up, and I realized that it was actually becoming a serious situation, because we had no possible way of completing our project on time without a team member, given that we were assigned specific tasks here. And so after a quick discussion with our teammates, I decided to schedule a one-on-one between me and that person. And during that meeting, that person was quite apologetic, and I'm confident that his situation was genuine. However, they couldn't reassure me that this won't happen again, so I really felt like I should contact the lecturer to see what can be done about this. And this proved to be a good decision in my case, because the lecturer scheduled a meeting with all 3 of us, and 5 minutes into that meeting, it became obvious that that person couldn't be part of our project, so the lecturer removed them and reassigned tasks to our project, which again turned out to be a very good idea, because we were able despite all these difficulties, to complete our project on time. And even further, we managed to deliver an algorithm that spotted 97.5% of cats in images as compared to the original threshold, the passing threshold of just 90%. So at first, remember what I was earlier talking about, time allocation for this answer. If in my previous video on the failure story, I was using my time to focus on the learnings, that is the R, the last part of my story. In this video, I focused on the actions that I had to take. And this simply because the bread and butter of this video was about my management skills and my communication skills, which are what's relevant to problem solving here. Also, I did try to sell myself throughout the video, and you might want to do this differently if you like, and which is fine. However, keep in mind that this is quite important. Also, try to keep eye contact at all times with your interviewers, and smile, but don't be overconfident. Being all smiles can also be a sign of nervousness. So the first situation that comes to mind here was while leading a team of 5 developers in a previous role at Merida Software, and we were actually developing an enterprise-grade ads management platform. And the challenge with these platforms is that it's usually our clients that tell us that we have to integrate a new ad exchange because those ads marketplaces advertise a lot to them. And in one such instance, we had to do it in a very short timeline of 1 week. Now, 3 weeks into the integration work, I realized that it was actually impossible for us to fully integrate that new marketplace into our system, and that was simply because their system was actually relying on an XML file that they would crawl once a day from us, and our system actually kept a real-time reporting system, and we had to adapt our system to include this scenario of only once a day of a passive system. So I realized that it wouldn't be feasible to do it all at once, so I came up with another solution here, that is to implement the interface as we would normally do, but as soon as the client would click on post ads, the request would actually go to our ads team, and they would do it manually because we had a dedicated team for this purpose. And this actually proved to be the right solution for the situation, because everything worked fine from our client's perspective, and we ended up fully integrating it within a 2 weeks timeline, which was, I would say, a major success for that situation. And by the way, that ads marketplace ended up being our second largest that we integrated with. So this was actually a genuine situation that happened to me quite a while ago, and quite proud of that, but notice that I didn't show my pride during my answer. Also, I won't go into the tips and tricks here because I simply covered them, I think, well enough before in this video, but I just say this is a great example of showcasing problem solving, and I wouldn't be too worried of my English speaking skills here. Also notice that I didn't flood you with metrics, but I did try to give a specific situation, and I did try to keep it within the 2 minutes mark. And interesting to note here is that the leadership principle that I wanted to showcase here, which is not the ownership one, because on the ownership it says not to sacrifice long-term goals for short-term success, so I would rather put this one into the customer obsession. And last but not least, keep in mind that the whole point of this answer is to invite for follow-up questions. And in this example, I intentionally omitted the industry that the software was providing ads for. So, could this have been done even better? Do you have any questions? Please do let me know in the comment section down below, and thank you very much for watching.